Good morning, everyone, and welcome, Mark. I'd like you all to join me in welcoming a local-based tech company. Jet is based in Hoboken. You closed in January $619 million in equity, and you're growing pretty fast, trying to take on Amazon. Just to get us started and to set the stage here, could you explain what your basic business model is and who you think you are trying to go up a behemoth like Amazon?
Yeah, sure. Just starting off, let me just say that the market in the U.S. today is over $300 billion online. Over the next 10 years, it'll be $1 trillion online. So our view is that there's plenty of room for multiple very large e-commerce players. And today, it has been pretty much all Amazon. We think there's another opportunity and a very big one. So we've created what we think is sort of next generation e-commerce marketplace technology. So it's very similar to Amazon. We've got 11 million products for sale and thousands of merchants that are selling product on the website. We also do some of our own fulfillment out of our own DCs. But the innovation is really around the technology. And so it looks very much like a real-time trading system on the back end than it does an e-commerce site. And what we do is, in real time as consumers shop, we're recalculating the marginal cost to ship a product to the consumer based on knowing where the consumer lives and where all the pools of inventory out there exist. On a traditional marketplace like Amazon, if you want to buy a product, you pick the retailer that you want to buy that product from. If you can imagine, as you start to build a basket of product, you're picking the retailer for each product you want to buy. Logistically, you probably see that there's a lot of inefficiency because they're coming from multiple people. What we do is we don't ask the consumer to pick the retailer for you. When you get to checkout, we know what basket of product you want. We're looking through to see what is the most efficient way to get it to you, ideally from one merchant, from a single warehouse in close proximity to where you live.
You only have 3 of your own warehouses, and you're not in the delivery business. Can you explain how that plays out? You're relying on others, other brands, other FedEx, and others to deliver your goods.
Yes. So I mean, it's a very similar model to Amazon and others in that for most of the deliveries, they're using sort of national and regional carriers. We do a lot of our own line hauls and zone skipping, so that from our 3 warehouse footprint, we reach 2/3 of the country overnight via ground. So it's in the rest of the country in 2 days. So very fast delivery times out of our warehouses. It's free shipping over $35. There's no membership fee or anything like that. So we think it's a solid value proposition. And when you shop smarter and build a big basket of product, because we're able to pull costs out of the back end logistics, you'll save money relative to other places to buy the basket online, including Amazon and Walmart and others.
So you're telling consumers that they will save money with Jet.com over Amazon?
If you buy a basket of product, you can pull up any basket of product. I urge you to pull up a basket of consumables, grocery, baby, pet, any of this stuff. Build a basket, compare the price of the basket to Amazon, Walmart, or anywhere else, and it'll be substantially cheaper.
How big does a basket need to be?
Just after you get a few items in, the items get cheaper as the basket grows. And so the more you buy, the cheaper the basket will be relative to the competition. It's not only building a basket, it's building a smart basket. And as you're shopping, we tell you what products are smarter to add at that time relative to what's in your basket at that time. So, for example, if you have a bag of dog food in a dog bowl in your shopping cart and you search for a dog leash, some leashes will be really smart to ship because we know they can ship together by a merchant near you with the dog food in the bowl, which makes the shipping really cheap. Other leashes can't. They'll be more expensive. And so we signal this to you in real time, which empowers you and gives you control to pull costs out of the system and save money. We're actually launching in 2 weeks a new shopping experience that basically shows the shopping cart open with all the items in it as you shop, and when you add a smart item to your cart, you'll actually see the price of previous things in your shopping cart go down in price. And that's something we've been researching for a few months and we're really excited about.
Just to get a sense from all of you, how many of you have used Jet.com? Okay, a few. You have some.
Yeah, there's a lot of upside.
You have some opportunity out there. So you started this about 2 years ago. You initially started with the idea of a membership model and concierge shopping. Can you talk about how you're not trying to do an Amazon Prime type model now? Kind of how your business model has evolved.
Yeah, so it's true. So we started 2 years ago to build a business, and we launched this July. So we're about 10 months in now. The first couple months, we had this idea to test actually charging people a membership to shop on Jet, using the membership fee as our profit, and which allowed us to reduce prices another 6 or 7% relative to these already cheap baskets. One of the things we found really early on was that the fact that people could build baskets cheaper than anywhere else today was already a nice hook to get people excited to shop, and that the extra savings weren't enough to warrant putting that roadblock up and charging people a membership. And so we never actually charged a membership, it was just free. But from our research, we realized that it made sense to move away from the membership, let everyone shop, which gave us a bigger market opportunity than we would have had if we charged for it.
And brands, do they prefer dealing with you or Amazon?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm glad you raised that point, because the membership allowed us to charge a lot lower prices. That's the one thing the brands didn't love. They didn't love that prices were lower, especially premium brands. They don't like to see their products discounted. And so we found that we were winning with brands that didn't want to be on other marketplaces, because we've sort of invested a lot in sort of our brand and personality. And we've also given brands unprecedented control, and we empower them as well by controlling what retailers sell product on Jet. And brands could also control and set minimum selling price controls, which they can't do on other marketplaces. So for example, you're a premium brand, and you say, okay, my minimum selling price is $100. I have authorized retailers. All the authorized retailers sell it for $100. Then somebody gets it gray market, they sell it on Amazon for $90. Brands hate that, and they have no control over that. On Jet, they actually have a portal where they can say minimum selling price $100. These are the retailers that are authorized. If somebody tries to sell it on Jet for $90, it doesn't allow them. So they love that control, and it really empowers them. We share information with them about who's buying the product, who's selling the product, and so we're able to build relationships with these brands and win over brands that don't participate in other marketplaces. And we think that ultimately will lead to just having much better assortment.
But does that mean that if a consumer goes to Amazon versus you, the price will be, why would a consumer then go to Jet?
Well, this is
Amazon, or do you have to kind of take that difference?
So we have 11 million products on the site. There's a small percentage of products that are like premium products that sort of you want to have on the site. That's good of the relationship. Most products have minimum selling prices. You can sell it for whatever price you want. So it's only in this very limited assortment. So we've made the strategic decision on this very limited assortment of premium brands that yes, we will only sell it from authorized retailers. So you can go on Amazon and buy it for $90, but you're buying it from a gray market retailer of that product. And so there are cases where you could find it cheaper for an unauthorized seller on Amazon today, but the brands are working to get those unauthorized sellers off Amazon. And so long term, I think it gets to the same place, but we will hopefully establish a great relationship with these brands by basically giving them the power to control and authorize the right retailers on the platform.
So Jeff Bezos famously lost money for years and years and years on Amazon. Could you talk about parts of your business that are making money? And I know you've said you don't expect to be overall profitable till 2020. You said the fresh business is something that is a pretty good one for you. Could you talk about what looks good and what's going to be challenging as you develop it?
Yeah, I said it before we launched in the summer that the plan was to get profitable in 2020. E-commerce is a scale game. And unless you have, significant top line GMV scale, the math doesn't work. But when you get that scale, the numbers work incredibly well. That's one of the reasons why there haven't been, any other company other than Amazon that's reached scale, because it requires a lot of capital and it requires burning a lot of cash to get there. But if you look at the size of the market opportunity relative to the cash burned, it's an easy investment decision. But to date, nobody's really gone out and said, no, it's going to be a couple $1 billion to build this business and to create a, 10, 50, $100 billion business. So in terms of Fresh specifically, you mentioned Fresh. We just launched Fresh delivery in New Jersey, Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn a few days ago. And what's interesting about fresh is the product margins on fresh are actually really good because they're perishable and stores need to charge higher prices to deal with the stuff that goes bad. The beauty about the model we've chosen, which is to have a central warehouse where we ship in refrigerated boxes overnight to what'll this summer be 60 million people out of one warehouse. So we're able to buy stuff in massive quantities direct from the farm and get turnover that same day. So super fresh quality. We don't have to deal with the spoilage issues. There's good margin in it. And so the prices are significantly cheaper than your local supermarket delivered to your door in a refrigerated box. So that's sort of the model. And we just launched a few days ago and already getting great feedback.
So are you going to have to expand your warehouse system significantly?
So we have 3 warehouses. We'll definitely need to increase the size. We're right now moving into like 750,000 square foot warehouses in each location. They'll eventually need to probably max out at like 1.2 to 1.5 million square feet. But from 3 warehouses, you can reach, like I said, nationwide in 2 days and overnight, eventually to like over 70% of the country. With same-day delivery to New York. We're 7-day-a-week, same day to Northern New Jersey, Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn today out of our warehouse. And so I don't think you need to add more than 3 warehouses. If you add a 4th warehouse, you're getting a little pickup in speed, very, very marginal, but you're also having to now replicate inventory for a 4th time, which is very expensive. And so it really doesn't pencil out to add a 4th warehouse until you're tens of billions of dollars in GMV.
So a big topic these days in tech is burn rates, cash burn that is. You've raised more than 600 million. How long, well, what is your cash rate? We had reported a few months ago that it was $40 million a month. Are you still at that level? And how long do you think it's going to be before you need more money?
Sure, so we've actually raised, we raised 55 million a year ago, June. That was our first round. Then we did 130 million we raised last February. And you're correct, we just raised 619 million in equity. So 800 million in equity, plus another close to 200 in debt. So we've raised in total about $1 billion in capital. We have the ability, obviously, to pull back on marketing spend. Most of the burn is marketing spend. The way we're spending right now takes us to the spring of 2017. And we just crossed $1 billion in GMV like this month now, 9 months post-launch. By the time the money runs out, we'll be $2 billion in GMV. We could either grow faster and pull in the burn, or we can go a little bit slow and push out the burn. So we have some flexibility there, but we're certainly going to need to do another round eventually. Absolutely.
And when you look at the overall tech climate, obviously it's become a bit more chilly. Are you worried about that? Do you think you should maybe try to raise sooner rather than later, or do you think that overall growth is going to be enough to buoy you?
Yeah, I think good companies get funded in any market. Certainly the valuation is an issue. Nobody ever wants to have a down round, but if that's the worst case, it's not the end of the world. As long as you're growing the business and the economics are moving in the right direction and you're on target, which we are, to get to our goal of 20 billion by 2020, which would obviously be a massive company at that point. And so things that couldn't really be going better. We got incredible momentum. Margins improve every month. GMV is growing every month. We're adding new categories of product. We're adding new merchants. We're in that sort of sweet spot right now where we're sort of out beyond, sort of the launch sort of like hiccups and on a nice sort of growth trajectory.
And when, just to wrap up, when you think about retail, how much is it going to be changing moving forward here in coming years? Do you see a lot more new entrants like yourself coming in, or is this just such a scale game that it's winnowing out?
It's such a scale game. I think the specialty retailers, non-mass merchant retailers, are going to struggle as we go forward here because, unless you get to 10 to 20 billion in GMV, you just can't simply get leverage on your fixed infrastructure and marketing to make the numbers work so that you're competitive on price. And if you're not competitive on price, it's going to be a long haul. I think a lot of the specialty players have been surviving because they've been able to get unique access to the brands. But every day you see brands that said they were never going to be on Amazon now deciding to sell on Amazon. And so I think it's just a matter of time. And when those brands break, I think it's going to put incredible pressure on single category vertical retailers. I also think that we're at a major inflection point right now where if you look back 10 years ago, when I started diapers.com, nobody bought diapers online. They simply weren't sold online. When we started, we had to go to BJ's and Costco to buy our product because Procter & Gamble wouldn't sell to us. Procter & Gamble said at that time, it's a dumb idea. People aren't going to buy diapers online. They're heavy. They're expensive to ship. And by the way, they're a loss leader for Walmart and Target. So how do you think you're possibly going to sell them online and make any money? And they said the same thing, like every week we called them for 2 years. They never finally actually said yes on their own. They were forced to sell us because we were buying all the product out of 6 different Costco and BJ clubs, and they were begging P&G to sell diapers.com. That's how we broke P&G. Now, a few weeks ago, they were in our office. This is 10 years later, different people, and they're doing a big presentation about how 40% of diapers are online now and all consumables going online. There's no need to buy consumables in the store because you don't need to touch them and feel them. That's what happened over a 10-year period. I think we're at a similar place today that we were 10 years ago with fresh food. I think anybody you talk to, most people say that's silly. You got to touch them, you got to feel them. What about spoilage? What about quality? There's all these barriers. It's expensive to ship. All the same stuff I'm hearing. I think this is the big breakthrough. I think in the next decade we're going to see a mass movement from fresh food from off to online. And I think when we do, there's going to be a huge unlock of e-commerce growth. And my view is that we haven't seen anything yet, that there's almost $1 trillion of food being sold in the US right now, and only a tiny, tiny fraction is being sold online. But when you can get all your fresh and all your consumables and everything else you need delivered to your door overnight at prices that beat your local supermarket, it's going to change everything. And I think that's what we're going to see over the next 10 years. And my prediction is that we're going to exceed $1 trillion online over the next 10 years.
Very interesting. Well, you heard it here at DLD. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you
Marc.
so much for that.